We're live, guys, with
Hey.
GuardianCast episode 44. We have a
44
guest
I thought
this
it was
week.
46.
Yeah. I'm not pushing back anymore. You can just say whatever you want. I don't care.
You're no fun, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I can only insincerely argue about it so many times, you know?
We've only argued about it 46 times.
Yeah. So we have a guest this week, WITSandGIGS. What's up, dude?
Hello. I did the webcam wave.
Oh, is that the official codified name for it? Like,
Yeah.
Wait,
I
do it
think
again?
we should make
Hello?
that into like a GIF or something.
Is that it?
That's for you guys. Nailed it, Huffy. Nailed it.
Or does it have to come from a certain place?
I mean, it just comes from the heart.
It's just better when you do it.
Yeah.
You have like something perfect. I don't know. There's like a magic there.
Yeah.
A lot of practice.
Yeah.
You know what it is? Wits has been working on his mouse and keyboard skills, so automatically he has this natural ability. You see, Huffy hurt his wrist. He can't do the wave.
Yeah.
It's
I
too
can't do the
much.
wave anymore.
Yeah.
Too much stress. So we're in another week where we're probably not gonna talk too much about Destiny because there's not a whole lot to talk about. But we'll ask Wits. Do you primarily play Destiny? How did you get into Destiny and gaming and streaming and all that stuff? You know.
I would say I primarily play Destiny.
Okay.
I started playing like 2 or 3 months before the Taken King.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I've been gaming for literally as long as I can remember, essentially. I used to play a lot of Halo and Halo 2 and all that stuff, so I've been a Bungie fan for a while. But yeah,
Halo 2 hype?
Destiny is home.
Mm-hmm.
That is where the heart is. So, yeah.
Nice. Little known fact, Wits did a lot of the artwork on my channel, the panels and the logo that I have and watermark and a couple of the scenes. So
Yep. So he actually has the official. He's the graphic designer, I guess, for the for the podcast
Yeah.
or for the whatever you want to call it, whatever we are now. But yeah,
we're something.
We're definitely not Illuminati cast. Fuck that.
I'll work on the new All Seeing Eye logo once we're done here.
Yeah. So how long have you been doing art and like, I guess, graphic design?
I went to school for like 2 or 3 months for graphic design, and then was like, nope, I'd rather just learn from YouTube.
That's a smart choice. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Way cheaper. I would say I've probably been doing it consistently for about a year, but on and off for like 2.5, 3.
Okay.
So yeah.
That's cool. And where can people find your portfolio and all that stuff, you know?
No idea.
Okay.
Portfolio. Have you ever thought about a loggerfolio?
I don't know what that is.
Something a little darker. No.
No? What?
He's making a beer joke, but it's just kind of landing weird.
oh,
I
a
don't know.
lager. Like, oh, have you ever
Yeah.
made a stout folio? Haha.
Yeah. Hey. There you go. Hey.
Yeah.
That's a win.
But anyway, yeah, everybody should definitely check out Wits if you need any artwork.
Portfolio
done,
actually can be found
reach
on
out
Reck's
to him.
channel because he did all the artwork for, like you said, for your channel. So
Truth.
Yeah, it's on my channel and Lenny's channel and quite a few other channels at this point as well. It's starting to grow, which is cool. So
Perfect.
I plan on putting something together eventually. I just haven't yet. I need to do that.
When somebody contacts you,
Oh boy.
do you think that you'd have it done before 6 months?
Yeah.
Yeah.
wait, whoa, what, Huffy? Are you displacing some anger against some, like having some passive aggressive anger towards someone here?
No,
not towards someone
there's
here.
no- I'm being very forwardly aggressive. I don't think it's very passive at all.
Yeah.
I think Reck's turnaround was like a week or so. I wanna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
That's like 5 months and 3 weeks.
To
less.
be fair,
That's pretty
to
good.
be fair, I worked with Davey with my stuff because mostly what he did was the video, and I worked with him for 2 or 3 months, but it was like back and forth, constant back and forth between like, no,
Yeah.
I don't like, I want this. Like, I'm very particular,
Mhm.
so
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I was like, I have no idea what I want. Good luck. But yeah, so anyway, how has everyone's week been? How was your Christmas, your New Year's, and did you play any Destiny?
Yeah.
Anybody? Yeah.
Hey, I
No,
played
no.
3.5 hours of Destiny today
Hey, nice,
on
man.
stream, and I've been icing all day since because it hurts a lot. But
Wow.
I did it. I used to be able to play like 15 minutes, and then I would be in immense pain. And I played 3 hours with only mild
Progress.
discomfort today. So I am officially like making.
You don't
some
think
good
you're like
progress.
re-injuring it or anything? You're
No, I talked to my physical therapist, and he said that like a few hours every day, listen to your body. He said not to completely get rid of Destiny because I was like not playing at all, and he's like, no, you need to play a little. Like don't let the muscles totally die. You're not gonna make it worse at this point because it's really bad. So play a
Wait,
little
your
every
doctor
day.
told you to hardcore play Destiny?
He told me not to hardcore play Destiny. He was
You're
like,
like, no,
think-
it's okay. You should just play Destiny, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, you don't want to cut that out of your life. That'd be really bad.
No, that's what he said. He was like, you don't want to alter things too much because you've already fucked it up really bad. So just keep playing a little.
Now's the time to challenge Huffy to a 1v1.
Oh, there you go.
Now is the time.
Yeah.
I'll still lose, but
It's gonna be clipped everywhere, all online.
So I haven't played a ton of Destiny recently. I've been playing like on and off a little bit. We did a little bit of raiding on Wednesday night, a couple raids and stuff. But I also, luckily, I did one powerful frame this week. I did a bunch the past 2 weeks, but I got the Le Monarch, you know. But
Mm. Yeah, so I dated this cellist.
oh boy,
And I don't know if you've ever dated a cellist.
was she
but I
French?
Mm.
No.
Okay.
Cellists, especially like classical music majors, they're really like specific about their pronunciation. I remember we were listening to music in the car once, and I was like, I'm not really into the cello suites. I don't really want to listen to Bach right now.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, oh, don't you mean Bach?
No,
Bach.
no,
No, I mean Bach.
I
What's
cut
wrong
that
with you?
shit off, bro.
Well,
Ludwig von Beethoven? No, get out of my life.
so
We need to talk.
but I got this Le Monarch, and it I was really excited for it because, you know, it's like the Thorn replacement or whatever, and I put on Oath Keepers. I gotta say, number one, not worth using Oath Keepers.
It's only worth using Oath Keepers.
It's only
What do
I
you
think
mean?
the
Alright,
Monarch and the Oath Keepers is like they pair together. That's the only way
I
that you can
understand
wear.
that. That's not the, but the problem is that's like not good enough because there's a big thing with it. So number one, the in-air accuracy of bows is not as good as I thought it was. It just doesn't really land where you're aiming. Like, it's much worse than a hand cannon for some reason. Number two, when you ADS, your radar goes away, and since it's like a lane-based thing, that's like really, really annoying. Because then you're like, yeah, there was somebody over there, but after I ADS'd, I have no idea where they went, or if they're coming out, or like, you just completely lose track of them until you un-ADS again, and then you're like flipping back and forth, and then like there's somebody behind you before you know it. And so I found that even though I lost the dot like 40 to 50% of the time, having the knucklehead radar on for that reason alone made it a better weapon, unfortunately. So it's like definitely not the best loadout, but after I put that on, I had like a lot more success with it.
It's a fun. I think it's really good. I think having one like if you don't have a sniper on your comp team, like if you're running 3-shotty and like a bow, like that's a fine combo. Like I think two-shotty, like a nade launcher and snipe is fine, but like when you add a bow to the mix, like you're like it's really powerful for controlling parts of the map, but like regaining control. Like bows are super good. Like I'm sure you notice, like when you're like pushing on the enemy, right, and you're like intimidating them, like you're keeping them weak. Like it's super
Mhm.
good. But when the other team has advantage and they're pushing on you, it's like really hard to make that work, even with like an SMG.
Well, yeah, the problem you run into there is like you end up hip firing it a lot when you're like
Yeah.
defensively using it, and then it's almost impossible to hit headshots like altogether.
Yeah.
It's just like pure RNG.
What
So
were you
yeah,
pairing with it?
if you just don't take it too seriously, you can have a lot of fun with it. But definitely not a competitive weapon, in my opinion. Like not like any bow, but you know.
Were you
How do you
using
feel
150 with it?
Was I using? Yeah, I was using the Dire Promise, which felt really good to pull that back out. That's the first time I've used it since Forsaken. So
Do you feel like it compares to Thorn at all, or do you think it's quite a bit different? Like the damage over time and stuff.
the damage over time exists, but the problem is it's completely dependent on your draw time. So you have like a short window of a couple seconds after you like ADS or after you pull back. You have like I don't know 3 seconds before the light on your sight disappears, and then there's no dot that's gonna happen. So you have to have like a perfect draw on it,
Oh,
and
okay.
then the only other thing is if you kill somebody, which almost never happens, like if you kill somebody with a headshot, because you don't ever land the killing blow with it. It's always like you land the initial shot and then you have to kill them with something else. But if you happen to hit somebody who's weak in the head, then they will explode a poison cloud and put a dot on everyone around there, which is pretty cool. But like I said, I saw it happen one time in 3 games. So
So it's not as consistent as Thorn then?
Oh, definitely
essentially?
not. No.
That's kind of a bummer.
It's a
So
bow.
excited for Thorn to come back.
Are you?
Yeah, man. I just love.
But you don't
I'm
want the
excited.
Thorn and Le Monarch? Like they said, oh no, this is like Thorn but a bow.
No, I'm just ready for like actual Thorn.
I'm gonna I don't know. I don't think there's if they actually make Thorn good, it's gonna be a
It'll be bad
problem.
with Sniper.
Well, no, it's gonna be a problem just because the recovery time in Destiny is so long, and for it to be like suppressing you forever with a hand cannon with the damage over time, I think is just gonna be annoying. I don't know. I don't think there's any way they can ever make that work where it doesn't just completely like infest the Crucible, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, if they keep 140s the way they are, the Thorn will just like be one of the only good 140s because 140s are crap.
Yeah. You know,
So
what I'm trying to think back. I feel like in Destiny 1 that the Thorn was actually a slower rate of fire than most of those like IS Luna style hand cannons.
no, it was always 140.
Cuz you only got like 7 in the mag or something like that, right?
I don't remember the magazine size, but I remember it being the same. The reason that people fired it slower was because the recoil was insanely
Oh yeah, that's
terrible.
true.
It had just the worst recoil of any hand cannon. The visual recoil is like insane, and you just had to do it all by muscle.
So rate of fire was 32 on the Thorn. IS Luna. The rate of fire was 22. Interesting.
Huh.
Does that mean
So-
it fired faster?
That I think so. I think that's how it works, unless like rate of fire is a thing where like a lower number means it's faster. But they're not the same, I can tell you that.
Weird. Well, it definitely didn't fire slower. I can tell you that for sure.
Yeah, so it's definitely 22 and 32 is what we're looking at. And the impact was 68 for Thorn versus 81 for Ias Luna. So yeah, Thorn was actually a faster firing hand cannon.
Wait, was it a 150? No way.
There's no like they didn't classify it that way. You know they didn't classify it that way, so I can't tell you that.
Yeah. They're just like that rubs my memory wrong.
Thorn is a 150. Huh.
Weird as fuck, dude.
Thorn is a 150.
I guess I do kind of remember it firing a little faster.
Yeah, it just felt so big and heavy and obstructive and interesting.
Now I'm sad.
And it was a 2-tap to the head. With like infinite range. So that's okay. That's interesting to know. Like I
so people's like
about that.
How is that going to work though in Destiny's current balance? Because they can't do 2 taps to the head, and if it's a 3 tap, then you might as well not even use it, right?
No, it's just going to be a 150 that
has a dot.
That has a dot.
But the damage it's going to do is maybe going to be a little bit more, but it's not going to be enough to do 2.
No,
but it just the dot alone would make it more powerful than a normal 150, though. Because the problem is you can track them through walls. You can track them through walls, and it keeps somebody out of the fight for like a year and a half. So it'll still be annoying.
It'll probably do like 58 damage to the head, and then do like 4 ticks of 3.
Yeah.
So
which the only thing they have to, I guess, tune the dot so that, what might happen though, Huffy, is the dot might make it enough damage that 2 headshots and a body shot ends up killing.
Well, I thought the dot always subtracted from base damage and then added it back.
No, that was the reason it could 2-tap. No other hand cannon could 2-tap.
That's right, yeah.
It was actually, it was obnoxious. It was obnoxious at first. It was 7 damage. Like,
yeah, but
we lost wits.
Sad about it. Yeah, but in year 3 when they nerfed it, like it'll probably be like more similar to the year 3 nerfed.
Yeah, so when they nerfed it at first, Huffy, it actually did 3 body shots was enough to kill, even after they nerfed it, and then they had to nerf it again. So you had to land at least 1 headshot, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so if they do that again, like if they make it anywhere similar. So
even when they nerfed it down, though, is what I'm saying, it was still more damage because in Ias Luna you always had to do 2 headshots, 1 body shot. For Ias Luna and Palindrome. Or no, it was 1 headshot, 2 body shots.
It's 1 headshot, 2 body shots.
But Thorn's faster rate of fire, though, technically.
Yeah.
So, weird. Yeah. Definitely
Destiny
weird.
1 feels like so long ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just feels so weird. Like I don't know. It feels weird.
So that's all I have for the Destiny stuff. We're gonna talk about some interesting streaming stuff today.
Can I say one more thing really quick?
Sure, go ahead.
Kindled Orchid.
Yeah, what about it?
Bringing back legendary hand cannon. Holy crap!
What are you talking about? You have a Kindled Orchid. That's the forge weapon.
Yeah, I know.
Bring it back.
I'm just saying, like the legendary hand cannon, like the feeling of like running around with a legendary hand cannon, like a legendary 140 man. Dude, Kindled Orchid, bro. It's like it makes them feel like not a steaming pile of duty butts. So nice.
Okay.
That's all. Get a Kindled Orchid, everybody. You deserve it.
Well, I actually decided I'm not doing any more forges till Niobe Labs comes out now.
Because, I mean, that's smart.
Yeah.
Don't you have to do don't you have to complete all the forges probably in all characters or no?
Oh no.
Hell no. I'm not. No way.
Because like I don't know, like they should probably fix that quest if that's gonna be a thing.
Fix what quest?
Well, Exo,
The
you've
third
never had
forge
to.
is
You've
is,
never had
uh,
to do anything like that on all characters in Destiny. Some people don't even have multiple characters.
Yeah, that's true, dude. What if I only got one hunter? I'll delete everything as long as I if I don't have to, if I only have to do it on one character, I'll delete the other two. Be gone, Warlock. I don't need thee. I
Holy
don't even
cow.
think I have a leveled up Warlock. She's like level 6.
That's so funny.
Actually, she's not a girl. She's a dude. Just because, like, I've always felt like gender dystophy. What is it called? I'm like, whenever I
Dysmorphia.
yeah, whenever I play a video game, like a lot of dudes,
You
like
have
they
gender
choose the
dysmorphia.
girl skins in Fortnite because they got the big booties. But like, whenever I play as like a girl skin, I don't feel like I identify
mean
with the character anymore.
The smaller hitboxes.
Yeah, the smaller hitboxes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got those that thickness. I mean, the anti-thickness. I mean, hey.
I was actually talking about how like when I was talking about The Witcher, and obviously in that game, like Geralt can bang like a bunch of different women in that game. So in Cyberpunk, you can choose from different characters. So probably the assumption is if you choose a girl, there's going to be a lot of lesbian action in that game, you know.
Potentially.
Hey, you know, if you're into that kind of thing, but like, you know,
Overrated.
overrated.
There you go.
I mean, I'm personally not into that kind of thing, but you know, whatever floats your boat.
There you go.
Exo is the guy who picks the girl in every game, so
That is absolutely 100% true.
yeah.
EXO is not a lesbian.
No.
And he definitely doesn't like strangle chickens and Sea of Thieves either.
No, that never happened.
Oh God, I forgot about that. I thought we were okay.
That was a long time ago. We should play some Sea of Thieves.
Oh my
Yeah, we
gosh.
should.
Yeah.
Play some Thieves.
Yeah, dude, we
Yeah,
played
dude,
it like once.
I just installed well, I didn't install it yet, but I just downloaded Dark Souls 3 actually. I think I'm gonna play that pretty soon, like within a week or two. 'Cause I don't know, like Destiny 2 is like slowing down with the content right now, and there's nothing.
I agree. It is a good time if you want to play other games. It's a good time to work that in. Obviously, The Last Word's coming soon. I'm definitely gonna play Destiny for that, but I do have some other games I want to play, and we've talked about that quite a bit. But let's talk about streaming, guys. So
Yeah, let's do it.
there's definitely like a lot of like unknowns and ups and downs and stuff like people don't realize. I'd say like from the outside looking in, you know, when you first get into Twitch and other streaming platforms and stuff like that, a lot of people's initial gut reaction obviously is, well, the first thing that they say is, well, why would you watch someone play video games when you could just play yourself? And that's like an obvious, like, okay, yeah, obviously you're not like a professional at every game, and like you're probably not as funny as the people you're watching and stuff like that. And you know, there's a lot of reasons why. So once you get over that hurdle, the next thing people think is, I don't get it. There's so much money being thrown around. Like if you watch the big channels, you know, like why are people paying them to just play video games, you know? And then after you do some digging, you realize like, yeah, there's like almost no money to be made. That's like a horrible reason to try and get into this. Like if you think it's easy, go ahead and just try and stream and, you know, make a living off of it and see how it goes, because it's not going to be that easy, you know, unless like Ninja is your cousin and he's going to host you like every 3 days, then it's not going to happen, you know.
Yeah, but if Ninja is your cousin, then you can contact us directly.
Yeah.
At,
we have a business email for you.
Yeah. We have a spot for you on GuardianCast, and would love to talk to you about your brother, cousin.
Yeah.
So there is it's funny. I was watching a couple of days ago. I was watching Dr. Disrespect, and I don't know if he went offline or whatnot, but I went to search for him again. So like on my TV, I searched for it, and it's just to watch it on TV. And this guy had, what was he called, Mr. Reverse Face. He said he was Dr. Disrespect's brother, and he was like, he was not American, but he had a wig and he had like glasses and he had all this stuff on, and it was super weird to just see that.
Like a knockoff.
Yeah, it was kind of like a knockoff a little bit. Yeah, it looked like it, at least.
He's like the Mr. Pibb of Twitch.
Oh God.
Is that like legal? I mean, I guess he was like not actually stealing any of his catchphrases or anything like that. He just it's like the difference between imitation versus emulation, right?
No, he's banned now.
Oh, so okay.
I don't know. Like I just looked at his channel and it's not there.
All right, so don't do that, guys.
Out, you can't actually say you're related to a streamer.
There you go.
Like literally try to steal their identity.
I mean, you don't know that's why he got banned. He could have been like showing his boobs. True. Speaking of which, there's been like this thing going around Twitter. I haven't really like dug into it or watched any of the videos, but apparently the Twitch community got somebody rebanned because there was this guy who like beat his wife on stream.
Yeah.
And he got banned, and then Twitch was like,
well, it was
just temporary or something.
Yeah, it was a 14-day ban is what it got, because according to Twitch's thing, like I guess like it's hard for Twitch to kind of prove that
it only happened on camera, right?
Well, the actual offenses happened off camera.
You could hear it though.
But you can hear it.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's just like smack crying, and you're looking at a chair.
Right.
That's super cringy.
The video is about 4 minutes and 50 seconds or whatever. And as of last night, I think around 11 o'clock, he got
rebanned
because of the backlash, right?
Good.
Yeah, I don't
keep him off the platform.
Yeah.
Even the insinuation, like, even if you were to come out and say like, "Oh, I didn't actually hit her; it was a joke. I went off camera and like hit a table and then made cried sounds," like we just don't need any kind of like even like allude to that. Like, even if it seems like you're beating your wife on camera, you should be sent to fucking jail.
Well, this is the thing where Twitch is kind of I don't want to say at fault, but it seems wrong to take action, be okay with the action that you took, and then because of,
I agree with that. It's a little flaky for them to just kind of respond to well, it turns into this like angry mob thing, right? It's like an angry mob thing where like people have like pitchforks and they're like, Twitch, you have to do what we say.
Well, what's happening right now with Patreon, I don't know if you know what's going on with Patreon right now, but there's a lot of people leaving the platform because they're banning people that either they disagree with on a political level or whatever, for whatever reason.
I did hear about that. One of the podcasts I listened to actually removed his Patreon because he was just like, I don't really want to support this platform.
Consistency and punishment. So like if you have a decision that you make, you stick with that decision regardless of what that decision is. And like that's what we want from a platform, because that way we know what we can and can't do and can and can't get away with.
Mm-hmm.
And Twitch in the past has done some other things as well with bigger streamers. They've only given people like 2-day suspensions, whereas other people get like nothing. And then some people get 30-day suspensions for the same thing. We have someone here who was banned for.
I mean, ultimately, it is their platform. Yeah. Ultimately, it's definitely their platform, and they can kind of choose to delineate that however they want. But I do think that there is a slippery slope argument to be made about like angry mobs, and especially like this one's it sounds like it's pretty clear. Like there's like evidence, even if it is just audio, but I don't really want to get to a place where it's like, I heard a rumor about this guy, and then like the internet starts talking about it, and they start making demands and stuff like that.
When he was first arrested, someone had made a thing on Twitter that said like they had called the police on him because he had pictures of his children like in the bath and stuff. And they said like he's got child porn on his computer. And it turned out that like it was just basically nothing there.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
everyone kind of went with that. So like he's a bad dude. No one is saying that what he did was right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously didn't have child porn on his computer. And like it was just like
That's
another
the
like,
standard.
more like kind of stuff. But you know what I mean? Like it's just like it's that mob mentality though that if unchecked, it literally goes down that rabbit hole of doing that. And the platform's responsibility is to make sure that it holds everyone to the same standard.
Yeah, I mean, just like as far as like the specific case though, I don't know if like like it would be nice if they could just like make a decision and stick with it, but I don't know if any of us are gonna.
No, I think on this case, definitely they made the right decision, even by going back and saying like maybe we handled this wrong and changing.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I just wanted to put the caveat out there that I don't necessarily want them to always respond to pressure from the Twitch community.
Sure.
And the other thing I don't want from Twitch, the other major thing I don't want from Twitch is I don't want them to investigate a case-by-case basis and apply a different standard on a case-by-case basis. Say, well, this one was more difficult because like there was a guy who got banned.
Well, they're going to. There's no doubt because there's financials at risk for them. So they're going to look at a channel and say, how bad is this? And then they're going to say, how valuable is this person to us? No matter what. You can say they can apply consistent standards, but that is part of their equation every time.
It wasn't Ice Poseidon, but it was somebody else who got permabanned for being hit on like he was like live streaming on the street and he was like somebody came up and punched him and he got banned.
Because they said he like choreographed it or something, or
no, because like streaming violence or whatever.
Right.
Like violent acts or abuse like is against TOS, and like since he streamed that action, a very similar thing happened.
It's a live situation though, and he didn't have control over it theoretically.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time that the larger conversation again roll back into what is and isn't wrong with the terms of service. Because if you think about it, how many times have we? I mean, maybe it hasn't happened to you, but it's like. I'm not scared of terms of service because I'm not necessarily doing anything that's wrong, but it's like I don't feel like editing myself to satisfy Twitch is the reason why like the reason you're editing yourself should be to appeal to your viewers or to match their energy or whatever, but it should never be to satisfy the platform's like goals or whatever.
I mean, it makes sense for you to say that because like you're a good dude, but like there's like guys that are like hella into child porn, and like if one of them was like
can we
hey,
not mention child
Twitter,
porn
right?
on the podcast
like
anymore?
That's all over
That'd be
Reddit
good.
And all over Twitter. Am I wrong? It's all over Reddit, it's all over Twitter, it's 4chan and it's everywhere.
What?
There's people out there that are
you don't want him to say what he's talking about.
the type of content that you're referring to and the type of people that are out there,
like toxic people,
regardless.
Yeah, but we don't want that here. Like we don't want that on Twitch.
No, yeah, I'm glad that they have terms of service to keep people like that out for sure.
No,
but it's not about those people censoring their content. They're just not going to make it here,
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want to give them the chance to make it here.
I'm not arguing for that. I'm just saying.
No. Yeah.
I'm just saying because Exo's original point was like you shouldn't be molding your content around Twitch's terms of service, but that's not like the point. The point is to just keep people out who have I don't know, unethical or immoral kind of content, or they're just bad people, whatever. Yeah.
EXO's not a bad person.
No, I mean,
Nope.
We love EXO. Look at that cute little beard. I just want to scratch it.
So, I mean, we got
What? Oh, come on.
we got into a little bit of a side tangent there, but
Yeah.
let's just dive into, like, I guess, streaming and, you know, the different platforms, like
Dive
choosing a
into it.
platform to begin with. If you're like a brand new person considering, you know, getting into streaming, and you're looking at this thing, there's a lot to consider. Like, number one, you know, you might be thinking, like, which platform is the best one to jump into, and they all have different kinds of advantages. It really depends what you're looking for, and what you're used to, and where you know people, and that's all important stuff. So, I mean, you have Twitch, Mixer, Facebook, YouTube. Is there any other, like, major streaming platforms I'm unaware of at this point, or for gaming?
Those are like the 4 major.
Okay. Well, I would say, like, Twitch is the most popular, but the other ones are making a rise in, like, different niches and stuff like that, and some of them have better algorithms to get new people discovered than Twitch does, whereas Twitch, you know, there's a notoriety and stability there that maybe the other platforms don't have. And so you really just have to consider, like, where have I spent my time watching video games? Where do I know people? Where can I, like, build a community and stuff like that? And that's a question you can only ask yourself. You can always switch platforms later, but it does become hard because as you, like, put a lot of work and investment in, then, you know, the prospect of starting over is more difficult to consider. But when you first start out, like, you're gonna go to set goals, and a lot of your time you're going to spend looking at the back end of the data, your streams and stuff like that. And, you know, when you're first starting out and you're streaming and there's, like, nobody there, you know, that's something that everybody has to deal with, most people. And basically it's going to be on you to try and just talk to yourself, keep commentary going even if there's no one there, because there's going to be somebody eventually who comes in who might not say anything, and you don't want to just be, like, mindlessly staring at the screen, because you're going to lose that person, you know?
Dude, that, like, just learning to talk, like, is, like, the hardest thing. Like, you know, even if it's, like, to nobody. Like, I remember, like, starting out, like, just, like, trying to, and then, like, especially playing a PvP game, like, trying to, like, talk and, like, express yourself and, like, be entertaining, but, like, also, like, genuine, and not have that devolve into bitching. Like, it's so easy to, like, especially, like, when you're alone, like, in PvP, you don't know what to talk about, and you're just getting, like, slammed by shotguns. It's so hard to not just be like, screw these guys with shotguns sliding around, screw Titan skating. And, like, that's what your commentary is just
it's hard to not do that even when you do have people there sometimes, you know, depending on how frustrated you start to get. But yeah, especially when you have no one there, it can start to feel like you're not really broadcasting anymore, but you have to, like, keep yourself consciously aware of that. Which it's just a struggle everyone goes through in the beginning, and eventually you get over that hump, and the entire thing changes. And even as soon as you get, like, one person in there, you can feel it change. Like, for the first time, when you start to get consistent about it, and you get, like, your first person in there talking with you, you'll realize, like, this is something totally different, you know.
If you have friends or family, ask them to join and chat with you just so that you can kind of get that. Not like, oh, so you can pad your viewership, but like, oh, like so you can get used to talking to people and a big thing about that is like if you have two monitors or if you have chat somewhere else, it is a skill, and the skill is to be able to look over at either the other monitor or look at chat every and try to notice it as it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I have on my chat is I have a timestamp, and if I I'll look at the time, and maybe I'm a little harder on myself than normal because I'll look at the time and it'll be like, if it's a minute off, I'll be like, in my head, I think, oh God, like I've like completely abandoned that person for that 1 minute that it was, this person said something a minute ago and it's now 1 minute later and I'm just a bad person.
It really depends what you're doing. Like, I understand like that mentality. I think people aren't as hard on you as you expect. Like, yeah, you'll definitely lose some people who maybe if they just came in for the first time and you happen to be really focused on something and you didn't acknowledge them, maybe they're already gone. And that's a shame. But I think most people, if they come in and you don't answer them, and if you're like attempting a world's first raid, or if you're in like the middle of a competitive match or something like that, most people understand. They'll say it. They're definitely really focused right now, and there's like a reason that they're not answering me, and it's not just because like they don't think I'm important. If you do that all the time, it'll be a problem. But
well, there's also something. There's also
public
something
events,
else to be said about. So like not public.
I need
events,
to kill this drag.
Let's not say let's not take that stuff, but like I don't know. If you think about it like this, right? So like, I don't want to say all the big streamers don't pay attention to chat because they really can't, but at the same time, there is something to be said for not worrying about chat so much and then addressing it when you have the time to do that.
Well, I think it gets to a point, and this is not really like advice for new streamers or anything like that, but as you're like looking at different styles of content and different size of streamers, you'll see, I mean, if somebody has 30 people and there's like 5 people talking, they can probably read most of the messages. Someone has 1,000 people and they have like 200 people talking. No, it would actually be really annoying if they were reading all of those messages.
Yeah, I think there's a like the style of content I'm referring to is more engaging for people who are not really interested in having a conversation. They just want something fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So they're there to just kind of like hang out. They take like my Twitch app on my television, my Roku doesn't have. I have access to Twitch chat, but I have to remove part of the screen to get it. So I don't have Twitch chat on there, and so I'm not interested in.
So you just that's when you lurk, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a big part of it. I mean, Twitch is a lot about interaction, but there is people like who are, just looking to have that on in the background, check out gameplay of a game that they're looking at, or just maybe they're looking to analyze, and learn something about the game, and they're just not looking to talk, and that's like a whole nother piece of it. And those people might be someone who's engaging in chat most of the time, but maybe they're just, busy that day, they're vacuuming or something. I mean, there's all sorts of different types of viewers, and those viewers do different things. Yeah, vacuuming. Well, I mean,
that's not to say that. That's not to say that it is a broadcast. Let's be clear about that. So if you were listening to the radio or you were listening to a podcast on for just like a one person podcast, and the person like stopped talking for, let's say, 45 seconds, you would think something was wrong with the podcast. You would think something's wrong with the audio.
Yeah.
You'd be like, why am I not hearing anything? You might close it down. You might never listen to that podcast again. I mean, there's a whole host of problems with that.
Yeah.
What I'm not saying is never interact with the chat. What I'm saying is that you should interact with the game and use that as like the backbone of what you're talking about, what you're doing. And then when you have the opportunities to address chat, you do that.
Yeah.
You get much better engagement that way as well, because then they know when they have your attention.
What were you saying, Wits?
I was just gonna say that as far as like filling the silence and things of that nature, I have found that Discord has been extremely helpful.
Oh
Like
yeah.
having voice chat and things of that nature, I think help to fill the silence a lot, so it makes it a lot less awkward, and you don't feel as alone. That way, it feels more interactive, and there's conversations happening. And then when people do hop in chat, then you can direct your attention that way and just kind of mute yourself in Discord. And I feel like that helps a lot with the feeling kind of weird aspect of broadcasting. So
it's entertaining too. Like you bantering with your friends, you know.
Definitely.
As I don't know if you guys watch Asmongold, but he does this with his friend McConnell. His friend McConnell will commentate on his game. Will tell him how much he sucks and how terrible he is and how awful he's like. He's basically interacting with chat while at the same time Asmongold's trying to focus on the game. And when Asmongold dies, he's like, well, you know, he addresses McConnell and then he addresses the chat, which is funny.
Yeah, it literally just has a guy like in Discord all the time. Like even if he's just watching YouTube videos, there's a guy in Discord like waiting to like talk to him. It's so great. It's brilliant.
He's definitely watching his stream because he's like, oh, look at what he's doing, because he was fighting the deacons of whatever a boss I haven't seen in Dark Souls 3, and he was fighting this boss, and McConnell was like, oh look, he did it with the mace in the first try. Oh, what a surprise! The mace is stupid overpowered. So I wonder what it would be like if he didn't have that mace.
It's actually an interesting balance to strike with Discord, because it is super helpful in keeping conversation going for sure, and especially if chat is not super interactive at the time, it can actually get them engaged, which is good. But you also want to find a balance of, number one, how many people are in Discord chat, and number two, how loud and talkative the people in Discord chat are, because I mean, you can actually like have people who, like, if they're screaming all the time or something like that, then that can be really bad. And unfortunately, you know, they may be your friends and stuff, but you have to at some point realize, like, I can't have this guy screaming in the background all the time, you know, like, and flipping out. So it is what it is. I noticed for the first time, like when you start expanding to multiple different size of activities, like, you know, if you're doing a 3-man strike, usually not a problem as long as you have like reasonable people in there. If you're doing even a raid with people who know what they're doing, and you can actually segment the conversation in a way that's coherent and not people yelling over each other, that can be good. I mean, a raid can get out of control with like random comments and stuff like that, and you trying to mute and talk to your chat under this banter, but it can be a positive conversation. The first time I really noticed it get out of control is when Escalation Protocol came out. If you've ever been in a 9-man party chat, it is just the worst. Like it can really get to be like, I can't even hear myself think. Like, sure, you can mute to talk to chat, but you're still trying to like not hear them. You know, while you can't even like finish your sentence while you're muted, because you're like, holy cow, like I don't even know what everyone's talking about right now, but I feel like I'm in a crowded subway or something like that. And you might even have people come in and be like, what is happening in the background right now, you know? Like,
the audio gets really congested when it gets over 6 or 7 people. And once it gets over that amount, then it becomes unruly, unless you're literally waiting for someone to stop talking in order to start talking.
Yep. Yeah, you would have to like moderate the Discord chat, you know?
Yeah. There's this like horrible situation that happens sometimes where you're like in the middle of a conversation, like in quick play, and like someone on the other team is like going on a rant about something, and you're like engaged in conversation, but the they're like explaining like several paragraphs worth of thoughts, and like you just had a host come in and like there's a notification playing, and you're like trying to like say like thank you and like give the guy a shout out, but like your friend won't stop talking, and you're like
Yeah.
So you end up
But they're
muting- you
completely
end up
unaware of
deafening-
that too. So it's like
You end up deafening Discord.
Yeah.
That is
Deafen's a
one
great
thing I
tool.
can say for sure is that I do believe that you should set up a toggle mute and a toggle deafen hotkey to
mandatory.
use an F key or something, use a function key and do that. Make sure that that's done. So that way you can interact to your chat if you are in a Discord or crowded Discord like Recked was talking about.
Yeah. Or if you're playing with Monster, just at all.
Yeah. And I mean, you can get really complicated with your setup like I do, where you have the ability to, sometimes like still hear Discord and maybe not play it on stream if it does get too congested, or like adjust the audio levels and stuff like that independently, which can be a big help sometimes. But that's all stuff that does take a lot of time and energy to set up.
How many channels is your mixer capable of doing, Recked?
So my mixer is 12 channels, but it puts out 6 different audio devices to Windows. Like basically each 2 of those channels are mono and they get bounced together as a stereo channel.
Well, I thought the way that it works is you have one input and one output.
Nope.
So like channel 1 is an input, channel 2 is an output of channel 1.
Yeah, so what it is channel 1 and 2. Channel 1 and 2 is an output. Channel 3 and 4 is an output. Channel 5 and 6 is an output. And that's how it works, basically.
Okay, so for you have to put something on channel 1, and then your Discord you have to put on channel 3.
Exactly. Yep. That's exactly what I do.
And then
it's
your
nice.
game sounds you have to put on channel 5 and 1357.
Yep, and this basically the sliders on the actual mixer affect what goes into my headset, and then everything that happens digitally I adjust in OBS.
That's awesome.
We can get I don't know if we're talking about gear at all. We are. So
we will, yeah. We can jump around. These are all just ideas.
Speaking of gear, my setup just slightly more. I just found this thing. It's totally free.
And it's like my favorite thing ever.
Nice.
It's like called Clownfish, and
Clownfish is great.
Yeah, it's like all you have to do is download the thing and you just install it on a microphone, and all you have to do is press a button.
And it's actually like super fun just to have that, and they have a soundboard too, and it's literally as simple as, so you just download the thing and there's like a ton of like voice modulations and like custom pitches, and then they have a soundboard that's literally just a picture of your keyboard. You can just like drag audio files.
Can you use a Stream Deck for it? Can you use a Stream Deck to control it or no?
To control Clownfish?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So the first time I saw Clownfish was when Summit was using it to hide his voice from people when he was playing Sea of Thieves, and
That's hilarious.
He would draw what he called wieners on the on their map.
Oh yeah, I've been watching that.
He'd be like, "Have fun with your wiener, bro."
The Wiener Raiders.
And so like he would attach his Clownfish to his push to talk key that would communicate with them. He would use his megaphone, and then he would just like scream at the other people. And so like they would like his Clownfish was attached to his push to talk key. So like every time he pushed to talk, it was the modified version of his voice.
Yeah,
that's really funny.
It's free.
Nice.
It's free.
Something I've also discovered gear-wise recently is using a foot pedal to mute Discord.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great thing.
That is pog.
Dude, it really is. And I've been going back recently and like watching some of my VODs and just reviewing some of the footage, and I've noticed actually it almost feels like a magic trick because you don't see me move at all. And like anybody who is, I guess, familiar with streaming is gonna like look at that and be like, he's talking over his teammates and they're just like not even paying attention to it. Like, how is that happening? You know, like, because usually you see it happen, like the mute button like there's some sort of movement that happens on camera that it's like, oh, it's obvious that he's muting so that his Discord party doesn't have to hear it. But you just see me like in the middle of sniping, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's really interesting, so and so, and there's like somebody having a conversation in the background, and it's like me giving commentary, and then I'll like in the middle of me saying that, unmute with my foot, answer somebody in Discord. It's really I didn't like in real time when you're doing it, you don't realize how cool it is, but like it's probably just something I noticed, but like going back, it's like, wow, that's like really fluid, and you think like a small delay, like picking your hand up to press a mute button isn't that big of a deal, but when it just doesn't break your immersion at all, and it doesn't have to screw up any of the gameplay on a regular basis, it really makes for a big quality of life difference.
Yeah, I mean, dude, like, literally just like playing like PvP and like trying to get like like the second that you have to take to like reach up to the Stream Deck is just terrible.
Yeah.
It's just hard.
And the sad part about this foot pedal thing is, like, you would think this is a really easy thing because it's literally just a single key that gets put on the ground of a keyboard. But there is not a lot of these products out there, so good luck finding one that works. It's a pain.
Which one did you find that worked?
It is the USB foot switch P1.
P1?
Yeah, it is FS1-P, sorry. It was $8.
Oh, heck yeah.
I bought
it's
it.
It's down $17.
Okay.
Because they probably found out they were the only company that works.
Yeah, well, I bought a $22 one, and I couldn't get it to work, which was kind of a shame, but... So this
it's weird because like they all they were right around $20 is what they all are, and it seems like there's only one with a review on it.
The software is crap. It really is. So, and a lot of them break and stuff like that. So it can be pretty frustrating. I hope that
none of them are eligible for Amazon Prime.
Yeah, that was the problem with this one. It took like 2 months to come in.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was that. But yeah, I find it super helpful actually. So that is like my newest, greatest toy, and for $8, you can't really beat that value. Also, Stream Decks. We've been talking about Stream Decks. I think all of us have one, right? Do you have one, WITS?
Yep.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
It's one of those things where before you have it, you're like, man, $150, that seems pretty expensive for like, just a couple buttons. But then once you have it, you're like, how the heck did I ever do this without this thing?
Yeah.
It's just so much easier than setting up hotkeys and stuff like that, and more convenient, and it really gives you the flexibility to do a lot of things.
There's a Stream Deck
Mini.
There's a mini that's available, yeah, but I was talking about Davies saying that he has one that's on the phone.
Yes, you can set up your phone to do that. The only problem is, obviously, as a streamer, like, number one, your phone can die. Number two, if you get a phone call, it's going to mess up your buttons. I mean, there is some downsides to that. You can get around it for sure, but it's not the most convenient way of going about it. Like, you could put it in airplane mode, but what if you get an emergency call that's actually like important or something?
I've been really happy with the Stream Deck since I got it. I had a couple of issues with it like not grounding power and things like that. Like the cable itself, I'd like to be detachable. I hate that it's not detachable.
You want it to be wireless?
Stupid. No, not wireless, but I'd like to be able to detach the cable, because if there is something that happens to the cable, like I want to be able to replace the cable and not just the whole Stream Deck.
Oh, yeah, but they want you to buy a new one.
Yeah, wireless would be cool though.
Wireless would be cool.
Wireless would be neat. And it would just sit on like a wireless charger. It'd be neat.
Yeah.
Just to have it like sit on a wireless charger the entire time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some small issues with it. Like if you have an electrical statical charge, and you go to touch it, like it'll reset itself. Because it's not grounded. It's just a USB into the computer.
Yep.
But for the moment, like it'll just restart. It won't do anything else. I had an issue a couple of months back where it wasn't displaying properly, and it was because I updated the firmware, and it caught like it said like the reason why they said it was happening was it was because the brightness was defaulted to 100%. And if you change the brightness settings on the Stream Deck for the LCD keys, it would mess with the like it would try to do like 100% and then it would still like also do that. So it would have this weird effect where it looked like the keys were flashing, like dim, like they were dim most of the time, and then they would just like flash like intermittently like bright. But they fixed that in an update. I mean, they've been really since Corsair bought Elgato, which Corsair owns Elgato.
Yeah.
They've been really, really great with even with Elgato's updates on it.
And I think they've slowed the updates down. Actually, I've noticed like before Corsair bought them, they were doing updates like every week. It was actually annoying. And now I don't remember the last time it updated.
Multi-key was the last was the last update that we got, I think.
But they're not as frequent, right? Like they do targeted updates. It seems like it's not just like shoving one down your throat every week.
Yeah, if you do want to look and see what features they are working on, and they are aware of or they want to be aware of, it's there's a Reddit for it. It's Elgato Gaming, I think.
Interesting.
Yeah, Elgato Gaming. And they'll go like somebody recommended that they added finally someone got to a developer or to a software developer that said that we want Discord integration. And they asked what were you looking for? And they said, well, what we want is we want the ability to control like mute keys and things like that with a Stream Deck. And they said, well, we'll work on it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So I guess let's talk about like how to get discovered and grow your stream and stuff like that. You know, basically like after you've tried this out and realize it's like something that you enjoy doing and that you want to invest your time and energy into, there is like a strategy to sort of go about it. And you don't want to like
share.
Yeah.
I would like to know.
Well, I mean, the thing is that you do know. It's just that it's not easy and it's not linear, you know, like, but it's all advice and stuff that you've heard a million times, I'm sure. You want to like be on multiple different platforms and outlets like Twitter and Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff, and that's a big part of it that unfortunately, like somebody like me, I just don't have time to be making daily YouTube videos that are like
if you did
high quality edited stuff, you know, and content with daily videos.
If you did, you'd be on YouTube. You wouldn't be on Twitch.
But there is people as well. But there's people who do that. That's how they get discovered on Twitch, is by making YouTube videos. You know what I mean?
Honestly, if you have not started streaming yet,
yeah,
it's probably a better idea to like build a name for yourself somewhere
on YouTube.
Else.
Yeah.
Yeah, like because so here's the thing. On Twitch, it's harder to search. Like the huge thing on Twitch is like gaining like directory placement.
Right.
And then like gaining visibility through like being able to search the directory. But it's super hard to find things. Like you don't get suggested other streams because of like things you've watched. Like it's hard to look up like specific keywords. And it's hard to share a stream because a stream is temporary. Like clips of a stream like are not really a thing that go viral. Like the only like possibility of like something to even go semi-viral is on like a different medium. So like honestly, if you like
that has better discoverability,
it's
metrics
the algorithms,
and better algorithms to help people
Absolutely.
How many
Twitch-
times
Twitch
on
is not
YouTube
invested.
do you like, you know, you watch a video and then you see in the suggested videos something that catches your eye and you go to that and maybe you like subscribe to that person if it's something you really like, maybe you don't. But like
you make one.
that is something that happens. Where on Twitch, that
You
literally
make one
never
post on Twitter.
happens.
You make one post on Twitter. You follow a couple of people, and then look at your feed.
Mm-hmm.
You've got thousands, literally thousands of people that are in those feeds that are like just making comments in here, and like you're like, oh, like I like this person's comment, so I'm gonna maybe follow them and see what they do. Oh, they do, you know, Instagram art or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, I like this person and this person I found it. Like it's kind of like you're like I don't want to say rabbit hole, but it's like.
Yeah.
But like we've
it is
all
a
been in
rabbit
that
hole.
situation, right? Where we're like 15 or 20 videos deep and we're like, what the heck am I even doing? What you don't realize though is like every single one of those channels that you visited was a brand new channel that you probably have never seen before. And like all those other companies have invested money into building an algorithm, and Twitch hasn't. Twitch doesn't invest in, I don't know why. But
they just like have a different. The system just doesn't work the same way, you know?
No, because like look at the left-hand side of the channel, right? It's followed channels. So if you don't already follow that person, what is the chance? And like if you were to follow a streamer, or like you were to start streaming yourself and you don't know anybody, and you don't talk to anybody, you don't have any friends that stream already, you have a 0% chance of meeting anyone. Unless you go out and, you know, try to communicate and find people to, you know, interact with.
Yeah, most people just go to their following tab, right?
If you're a viewer of the stream, you only go to your follow tab. You hardly ever, you know, just visit directories, especially not the ones where you have to scroll down, you know, go to the Fortnite directory, you know, scroll down 100,000 pages. You're not going to do that. No one's going to do that. It's not acceptable to think that anyone is going to do that. So no one is going to find you if they don't already know you're there.
So I guess the big question is, do you think it should change? Do you think that they should go with a different model on Twitch?
I don't think it's possible literally with the page real estate. So like if like it would be super cool to have like a bar that's like up next, or like similar streams like they have on YouTube with the videos where it like shows you videos that are super similar to what you're looking at, so that like maybe you could like that content. But like that's where the chat is on Twitch, like, and you can't go to the left side because like I think followed channels, or even like the other beta thing that they tried where they moved like your information over there with the banner. I think both of those are like better options for this platform.
What if instead of that, like, I mean, I think people are gonna have a problem with if you have viewers watching their stream and they're being directed to other streams, like that. That's gonna cause controversy. Cool. But what if they had like a suggested tab? You know, I think people might actually click on that.
Yeah, but where would you put it on the tab?
Page?
I just mean on the top of any page of Twitch. Like you see following, browse, get desktop store. What if they just put one up there that said suggested?
I have a recommended channels section on the left side of my Twitch page.
You do?
Yeah.
Mine says followed channels,
oh
online
yeah, I
friends.
have a recommended. No, I have a recommended friends.
Yeah, mine says followed channels, online friends, and recommended friends.
Mine is online channels, recommended channels, online friends.
Recommended channels you have.
Yep.
I don't have that.
I wonder if that's a beta thing. Like,
It might be a beta.
I've never clicked it though, so.
Okay,
It's
so
not in a great place.
Obviously, it's not in a good
doesn't
place.
work the same way.
Yeah.
So no, here, honestly, I like the way Twitch works. Like, I would just like say, if you haven't started streaming, don't.
wow.
No. Like, what I mean is like pursue other platforms first.
Twitch
Instagram,
is
YouTube,
unfortunately
Twitter.
Yeah,
in a place where, in order to grow on Twitch, you have to grow outside of Twitch.
Snapchat.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You gotta get
TikTok.
Wow.
Dude, make some dang TikTok memes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, download Vine too. You know, get on 4chan. Yeah.
Don't get on 4chan.
Be a Reddit,
Literally anything but starting streaming with 0 followers.
be a Reddit contributor.
It's hard.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just put it to you that way, because like from Reddit, a lot of people don't know this, but Cosmo came from Reddit. He was a Reddit moderator.
That's true.
And now he works at Bungie.
Yeah.
So like if he were to leave Bungie, similar to the way that Dr. Disrespect worked with, was it Treyarch, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he were to start streaming, he would have an instant following.
Yeah.
That's just like automatically there for him. And any YouTube channel, I mean, because like it's a lot easier to hit the follow button and the subscribe button on YouTube. Like follow and subscribe on YouTube and Twitch are one and the same, right? So like it's very easy to hit those two buttons if you like the content. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't.
I actually think it's very difficult to hit the. I think it's more difficult to hit the follow button on Twitch.
Yeah, because you can't find the content.
No, just because it's annoying to pull up the following tab and like have to sift through streams to see what you really want to see. Because like really, I think people are
that's
like
what I'm
watching.
saying. In order to follow the content is what I'm saying.
No, he's saying he doesn't want to follow people because he doesn't want a longer list of people.
Oh, because it just makes it harder for you to find the content.
It gets really clustered.
Mm.
You know, we're on YouTube, like, you know, like the interface, it works differently. Like when your following page is like a directory and you're like looking through it for your friends, like that's not fun.
Maybe not having not allowing people to do panels. I know it's like a lot of like customization, but like taking that away might be the way that they might want to do
panels.
that. No, but I mean that might be the way that they free up that real estate.
Yeah, but we really need
like
those.
Panels are like, so when I first go to a new channel, and I want to know a little bit about them without having like an hour-long conversation, I look at the panels, you know. And I think a lot of people do that.
I mean, like, I just don't know then what the heck we're gonna do.
Exactly.
Because like the whole idea behind Twitch is you're on someone's channel and the chat is on the right because it's their channel. They like Twitch views it as like, I mean, I can imagine that Twitch views it as, you know, an ABC broadcast or an NBC broadcast or something like that, where it's that channel. And eventually it's going to replace live TV, but Twitch is the platform that people are going to do it on. But
all right, I have an idea. When you go to twitch.tv, it just automatically sends you to my channel. And then it'll be fixed.
Yeah, that sounds good.
That's a pretty solid idea.
Seriously though, the
favorites list,
the browse button needs to be just completely redone. So when you go to browse, it shows you like it shows you just a list of like the top games, right? It's like a huge like macro directory where it just shows you like all of the games that are being played listed top to bottom by viewers. Screw that. Like what if like browse, like the front page was like recommended channels? Because honestly, people aren't, if you want to go to these like games, like you can search these directories. Like that's how people are going to these directories.
But
like the
weird thing is people are using, like I don't use that front page stuff, but people are using that front page stuff to
not
to
the
find
front
people.
page, but the browse page.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like there's no reason for the browse page to be just a page that is ranking all of these games like by how many people are streaming. Like we don't need that function.
Baga makes a good point. He says, what if it recommended channels to you based on what your friends watch? Because that would actually give the friends feature a point. Because I don't know what the point of friends on Twitch is right now.
I'll tell you what the
so
point
your friends can stalk you.
Yeah.
That's the whole point.
It's free advertisement too. You should just always, if you're on Twitch and you are streaming on Twitch, you should accept every single friend request. Because it'll like pop you up on online friends and it'll tell other people who you're watching, and it's just your name being
I don't
one other
know
place.
why followed channels is where it's at. Maybe not having it there because you already have following as a browse thing. So I don't know why there's an instant click button for a channel that you probably already know is live.
Yeah.
If you want to see that you can put that in the notifications, since you already get the notifications there anyway. Notifications are in a bad spot. Browse is bad. It's just awful. It should not show you the top game. It should show you just like, hey, I'm just want to find people, and invest money in an algorithm that determines what content is good. I mean, even if you have to use the crappy algorithm that YouTube is using, where based on watched minutes means that the content is typically better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do the same thing where you use the notifications to separate channels that you really want to know when they're on and when they're not, because of the following issue where you said it gets clustered and stuff at certain times.
I think I might just honestly unfollow everybody, and then like every day
That's
when
a
I
lot of work.
go to watch, like I not really, I don't have that many channels
There's a script
followed.
that you can download, Huffy, if you want to do it. There's a script that will unfollow everyone for you.
And I'll just go to the freaking directory every time I want to watch, and like maybe I'll meet some new people. Maybe that would be a good experiment to just do it all over again.
Or just what you can do is you can there's on the top hand side of the browse, you can completely get rid of your follow channels, so you don't all you see is their emblems, so you don't have a chance to click on them if you look at that.
There you go.
There we go.
So that way you don't have to unfollow anybody.
So we kind of spent a lot of time on diversifying outlets there, but another piece of it, aside from this whole follow debacle, is networking with people, and you do have to actually
change the name of that, because I really hate the idea of networking. Because if you're networking to be like, what can I get out of you, that just I don't like that.
That's not what it has to mean, though. It doesn't.
But that's
have to
what
mean that.
let's be clear. That's what most people think that it means. Like, there's this like huge like trend, this networking trend, this like idea of like follow for follow. And
yeah, well, if you go in and do that, then like it's just a bad business model. You're just like not thinking that critically about it.
Networking, like what you should do is you should go into a directory where you're interested in a game that you're interested in, and you shouldn't click the top streamer.
No, you should go
at first. You should know when they're live, and you should like what you like about that person, whatever. But then you should go in and you should scroll down. If you scroll down in the Fortnite directory, how many people do you have to scroll down to see?
A lot.
Quite a few. I'm still scrolling.
Yeah.
So you scroll down and you find someone in there that, just based on their name, image, I don't know how, like, see, that's the thing. Like, there's nothing curated about Twitch, and that's the problem.
Here's the thing, though. This is like where we get back to like, I mean, I think this kind of heralds like the idea of like, oh, you should scroll down and like find other people. Like,
you should.
I mean, listen, like I'm on the platform, and like I'm like actively like, like in like the bottom of the directory and like talking to other people who like are just like medium like small sized like Destiny streamers. But like when I go to like a game directory like Fortnite, like I honestly just want to watch Tifu do scrims. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I just like don't go to Fortnite at all. So
well, yeah,
that's a good way to avoid that problem.
But like getting introduced to somebody on a different medium is just so important, because you can control your impression. It's just so hard. Like, even like going into other streams, like someone says, oh, hey, there's this really great streamer, like he streams Destiny 2, his name's Recked Expert. Like that guy goes and clicks on your stream. In YouTube, you can have curated content, right? You have curated content. That person maybe is going to last 2 minutes and 30 seconds before they decide to stay or leave. They come to your Twitch stream, and like you're getting pooped on for a game for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and you're kind of aggravated.
Yeah.
They say like, oh, well, this isn't very fun. Like, it stinks to like just jump into the directory and say like, oh, do I like this streamer? Because like maybe you're not catching them in like their prime content. Like it's a hard medium to find people and like really understand them. Like it requires a lot of investment on the viewer's part. It's
definitely
really
does.
weird.
Yeah.
Like it requires a person to go out there and say, well, I want to be a good person today. And if I click on the person on the, like, and we're not
That's
saying,
a lot to ask.
Well, yeah,
right,
and the worst part is when you first get in as a viewer, you can't treat it like a tryout. You can't be like, let's see what this person has to offer, you know, and then just sit there and critically watch them. You kind of have to give them an opportunity. You like, if you really want to be objective, then you have to like talk to them and, you know, like get them talking back to you and give them a real opportunity to have a conversation and see if you enjoy their content. Like an hour, like you're not talking about coming in for like 5 minutes and being like, is this person really good at this game and are they funny? Like that's not gonna work on this platform, you know.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Follow for follow. I did an experiment in my channel a while back to see what the impact of that was, just because I didn't know any better. And I can tell you straight up, follow for follow is probably one of the worst decisions you can make. Not because of an inflated, like all you're doing is inflating your follower count, but most of those accounts aren't even real accounts. So you won't even have those followers a month from now or 2 months from now. Because Twitch will get rid of them and they just won't exist. But the other thing it doesn't do is it doesn't give you engagement at all. So that's the main reason not to do it. But with I guess with like networking, what I'd say about that is join Discords. First of all, join all of our Discords.
Hey.
There you go.
And then you know, if you're looking for something that we're not doing on this podcast, you know, let us know. if we're not, I'm not trying to say like how much. I guess how am I trying to say that? There's words that I'm trying to say, but I can't. I
think
think
you're trying to say make friends.
It really is that
making
simple.
friends is the goal. Like that should be the goal. And if you're dead set on playing a game that is popular.
Well, that's what I was going to bring up next is you got to pick a game, right?
You got to pick a game, man.
So I don't think that you need to pick a game.
Okay.
I understand that, but don't you think, I'm sure that you would agree that it is most fruitful for growth and community building and friend making to play a single game?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I completely disagree, and here's
why. The reason why is because of how Twitch is built. Like it would make sense in other situations. Like I don't want to say YouTube. Well, YouTube really doesn't apply here. But the reason why it doesn't work is because when you're in that directory, you're always in that directory, and you have a hard time with people finding you. If you have like 2 or 3 people, your growth is just stagnant.
Right. But that's a separate problem though.
But I think that it's linked, right? So if you play one game and you play only that game, and then you decide to play another game, like the people that are there are not there for the game, they're there for you. And so you go to another directory.
I understand that, but here's the thing though: when you're trying to grow and actually meet people, like real networking that we've been talking about, where you actually try to meet people and build relationships and stuff like that. Here is the problem you're going to run into. You invest a lot of time into other streams, watching their streams. You guys have a similar interest in, let's say, Destiny. That's how you met them. You go into the Destiny directory, you found them, you watched them for an hour, you kind of like had a back and forth, and you stream Destiny sometimes. Now, let's say you host them, right? Now they know you're a streamer. There's like a long like list of events that happen leading up to building on this relationship. Now, next thing you know, you're streaming Duck Hunter, and this person thought about hosting you because they were like, oh, Exo Fury hosted me the last time. Okay, so they're logging off, and then they look and they say, I could send my viewers over to this person. I think they're a good person, but the problem is I know for a fact, and this is like proven time after time, let's say you drop 100 people into a different directory. It is going to fall off. Like those people, a lot of those people are there to watch that game.
That isn't an issue though that's an issue with hosts in general.
Right.
Because hosts do that regardless of the game that you're playing.
But so if you're playing the same game, it's a lot better. It is a lot better.
I don't know that though.
I do know that. I'm telling you, I do know that for a fact. If you're playing a different game, people will leave almost immediately, like a lot of people. If you're playing the same game, it'll still fall off. Like that happens with a host regardless, but definitely not as aggressively.
I mean, the thing is, like, that's the way Twitch starts. Like the browse page, you click browse page, and the first thing you pick is not personalities. It shows you a list of games.
Right.
It's people are like, when I don't know, think about like when you go to Twitch.
And I'm not saying I never host somebody in a different game. I do, but I'm aware of that.
I will never pick a host based on the game that they're a person based on the game that they're playing if I'm hosting them. But I have, as you said, I have gone into a certain directory and hosted inside of that directory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But But if I'm following that person and I've decided to host them, I never look at the game that they're playing because I could give a crap.
But what you might do, it's not that you say, hey, like, this person's on, but here's the thing. You go to your follow list, and let's say you have 30 people on, and you see, oh, so-and-so's on, but they're playing this. Who else do I have on? That is something that you might do, even if it's subconsciously. I don't know. It is a thing that affects growth.
Twitch's a platform garners more attention to the game rather than the person that's playing the game.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
so like if they were to reverse it and they were to say you go to browse and you'd see like Ninja, Tifu, like you'd see all the people, maybe it would change the perception a little bit.
Maybe if it was like comedy streamers or like a scrim directory, like a high tier PvP directory. If like they like organize things like that, like maybe it'd be different. But like it does have mainly to do with the game and the specific activity.
I don't think that that hosts necessarily matter as much in that regard. Like if you're getting if you're getting 100-person host and you're not playing the game that they want to see, even if you are playing the game, they're probably either gonna follow or they're just gonna leave. There was only two things that a person from a host is gonna do.
So I don't know anything, but my current experience has been that people are very specific. I noticed like I had like a small community like on Xbox of friends, and we would host each other all the time, like doing trials carries and stuff. And like getting a host from a person on Xbox doing trials carries, like to another person on Xbox doing trials carries, there's a lot of good stick.
Mm-hmm.
Like you take even like different activities, like here's a trials host to a quick play host, like there's like less stick. And then like even worse is like platform. Like you get an Xbox host like to a PC player, it's like, oh wow, there's even less stick. And then you get like an Xbox trials host to like a PC non-Destiny host, and like 100 viewers turns into like one extra person. It's like
it can be really aggressive like that, and like psychologically, actually, it's something that's hard to get used to, because if that ever happens to you and you find yourself in this situation, you might actually take it personally. You're gonna think like, what's wrong with me? Like, do these people really hate me this much that they're just like out of here immediately? You know, it's hard to like accept that the first time, but it actually is just normal. And you have to like empathize and put yourself on the other side of this and say, if you were someone who was here for a specific reason and you got dumped into this other channel, basically, like, now you have to ask yourself the question, like, was I like about to go to bed anyway? Like, is this what I was here for? Is this the game I was here for? Are they entertaining in the same way that the other person is? Did they do something in the first 10 seconds that caught my attention? There's like so many things that factor into it, and a lot of it is completely out of your control. So you just have to not take it personally, and if people do choose to stay and follow or whatever, then you want to just embrace those people and be happy about that, even if it's one person out of 100. You know?
Yeah, here's one thing that I can say for sure about Twitch is that you just gotta expect the whole thing to be a total shit show, and whenever there's like the smallest little piece of cake, you gotta savor that cake. You gotta chew on it for a long time, and you gotta be grateful as hell for that cake. Because cake is, there's not a lot of cake.
Yeah.
You just focus on your community and like the people you know and your friends and having a good time. Because if you're paying attention to stats, numbers, growth, if you're looking at statistics, bar graphs, just ignore all of that. In fact, when I stream, I keep the viewer count hidden. You just don't.
Me too.
Well, that was actually something that we had in there that we kind of skipped over a little bit. If we want to go back to that, like how to interpret like the analytics of your channel, or what not to.
Just be grateful for every positive, and don't look at trends, and just chill out and try to be the best that you can be.
The only stat I have on my chat is how long I've been streaming and what my title is.
Yep. Ayo.
That's a good way to be. And I think that like there is, and it's not for me, but there is a time and a place for looking at those analytics. Like if this is your full-time job and like your income is dependent on it, maybe you want to look and say, hey, like I did good during this particular month. I was playing this game. We were doing this type of stuff. And you might want to look at that kind of stuff to say, you know, like how can I maximize my financials and stuff like that. But that is like a very exclusive group of people. You know, I don't even know a lot of people who fit into that category. And also there's a lot that's random about it too, that it's out of your control. Like you saw how many Destiny streamers completely left the game when things got bad, because if you're financially dependent on this, you kind of have no choice.
Well, so
you know?
I look at that exodus a little bit differently. I don't think that necessarily viewers left. I think viewers left the platform for a little bit because they weren't interested in playing Destiny anymore. But I think the vast majority of the people would stay with I think a good percentage of the people would stay with like Professor Broman or King Athalion or Gigs or whoever it was. And they would stay in those directories, or that they would stay in that channel regardless of the game that they were playing. A perfect example is Dr. Lupo, who started on Destiny. And when he decided to leave Destiny for another game, the people who were in his channel stayed in his channel. Or Real Crafty is a great example as well. When he played,
I think is a better example
because he played Destiny more. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, Lupo got picked up by some big dudes.
Okay, so Crafty is a better example.
So Crafty is kind of like.
Has Crafty's channel grown? Like, did it grow when he went to Fortnite?
It's definitally.
I mean, the people who stayed with
stable.
him,
like he
stayed with him.
Stable, but like what I'm asking is from year one or from trials, Destiny 1 streams to Fortnite, did expand, or was it pretty much the same?
His viewership is more stable. He had better peak viewership, right?
Okay.
But like
when he came back to Destiny for a short period, he was like inundated with like.
Because I'm gonna be honest,
people-
I used to watch Crafty all the time, and I literally unfollowed him when he went to Fortnite. Because I can't do it, dude. I can't. Like, I have to know somebody personally to watch Fortnite, and then I just completely ignore the gameplay and talk to the person. Because I hate the game.
Dude, you
it's just
hate it.
terrible.
What Recked is actually saying here is that you can expect him to start streaming Fortnite tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
You should give it
Bro.
a shot.
Fortnite, especially Fortnite scrims, are so entertaining.
It's gotten a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
Oh, Crafty played with Dr. Is that Dr. Lupo you're talking about, Michael, or
No, Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect?
The doc.
Oh, okay.
Well,
I
see,
didn't
a
even
lot
know
of
that
these
he's a
people,
Fortnite player. I thought he plays
almost
like
all of these
PUBG or
people,
something.
right? Dr. Disrespect, Shroud, Crafty. I'm not gonna say King Ithalian and Probo because those people kind of grew with the platform and they kind of, when Twitch was a nascent thing, they just
Goth is really a variety streamer too. Like,
well, they're
that's his
like
brand.
those people said, you know, we're just gonna keep playing on this directory and whatever we get. And as the director, as Twitch grew, they grew. So like their advice is like just stay with it. And like there's no, because
Interesting.
like Twitch goes back to that issue of like there really doesn't have any way to discover people. Like if stay with it is the only advice that you're willing to take from that, then your only hope is that Twitch grows so big that eventually the trickle down
Oh,
viewers exist or whatever.
Is that? Oh. Oh, I'm dying. Yeah. Is that the only hope is that Twitch viewership gets 10 times larger, but no one else starts streaming. Yeah, it looks like we gotta.
Well, the
we gotta
Twitch
plan it.
analytics on that actually say that the person who starts streaming like something like 80 or 70 or 80% of people who start streaming within 90 days has their last stream within the 90-day period.
Oh,
So
yeah.
like just like 70 to 80% of people quit. And you know,
Yep.
I don't want to call
It
anyone
has to be
out.
more than that.
Yeah.
No, he said it was like 80%. It was a very
Okay.
high number of people who just quit within 90 days.
Well,
think
that
I don't want to call someone out, but my wife was telling me that someone she works with is like, you know, I'm sick of it. You know, I'm just gonna stream, and you know, 6 months from now, I'll be making. And I was like, oh, I don't
You'll
know
be
how to tell
making
you
nothing.
this.
yeah. If you get your first Twitch check. So here's the really, really sad thing, right? You get affiliate, right? And then you get a few subs and you're like, oh my God. And then you find out that you have to reach this like $100 limit, like before Twitch will send you your first check. And you're like, all right. So then it takes you a few months to do that. And then it's 2 months behind. Like,
we can actually talk about that. Yeah. So you have to do $100 and then they will send you the check. They promise 60 days from now.
Yeah.
60 days
No,
from
they
when
lowered
you
it to
hit.
45. They lowered it to 45.
They
for
actually
It doesn't feel like it.
it feels like it's like 30 or 45 or whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but
yeah.
Like according to what they said, it's 60 days, but you'll probably see it sooner than that. But that's not the issue. The issue is you still have to hit that.
Which
so
takes
that
a long
means-
time.
Mhm. And you have to hit it consistently in order to get a consistent $100 sent to you.
Yeah.
And
It
so
sucks.
I wanted to bring up, like, I sent this to Huffy a while back, and I don't know if you saw the video, EXO or WITS, but there was this guy named Uber. Yeah, I put a link in here, and it went viral like a few months ago, and it was this guy who basically said that, like, he put everything into streaming and just like ignored all of his life obligations, and
That's the way to do it.
and literally his channel just didn't go anywhere. And the ironic part, I guess, is he made this video just saying like, it's like you have no chance of success, and like you're never gonna grow. It doesn't matter what you do. You're just gonna ruin your life, and you're gonna lose your job, and you're gonna lose your girlfriend and everything. And then that video actually exploded.
So he's talking about how like you should give up on it, that your life is more important, and then he's like, by the way, full-time Twitch streamer.
But yeah, it was actually super sad to watch, because it just like if you watch, like, it seems very genuine. I don't think it was like a staged thing. Like, I don't think it was a plan where he was like, yeah, this will really get people's attention or something like that. I think he was genuine. Like, he was like, you know, I'm giving it up. And he was like, you know,
yeah, he's still not streaming.
He's not?
Nope.
Interesting.
Oh, what's his name?
Uber. It's in. I put a link in the show notes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's
like, really sad.
Yeah, but
Should've parlayed that.
That's how growth happens. You literally just have to put the most honest energy you can into the world, and then like the shit that you don't think is gonna click, like it just happens. Like, all you can do is put good energy out and like pray for some good energy to happen.
Oh yeah, no, this guy, I saw this video.
I'll put the link in chat, guys.
No, yeah.
Chat can't see show notes.
Nobody's gonna see this 500,000 views top comment.
Yeah.
Wait, you get $105 for getting
51,000 likes. Let's just start vlogs, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
video logs.
I'm definitely vlogging in 2019.
I don't know how to say this without getting I don't know if morbid's the right word, but who did the article about streamer depression?
There you go. There it is, chat. If you want to check it out, it's really sad.
Is there an article that was done about streamer depression and like?
Was there? I didn't see it, but
yeah, there was. I'm pretty sure there was.
Also,
what?
I mean, I don't know. I think that like there's definitely like a lot of like depressed streamers, but like I don't think that it's worth like ignoring the kind of people that would try to do this. Like, this is an art, you know, like streaming is an art. And like the kind of people that pursue the arts, you know, like you deal with this, I have a master's degree in music, and literally every single person that I graduated with, everybody was depressed.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a counselor. Everyone who pursues any kind of art form is depressed, because you put your heart and soul into what you're doing and you get like almost no feedback back. It's just depressing.
Yeah.
It's just
the hard thing about Twitch is that it's a platform that is it's an echo chamber. Not echo chambers are not the right word. It's a black hole of you're basically screaming into a black hole.
This is encouraging cast, by the way.
This is Illuminati cast.
This is not the encouragement. No. This is
a black hole. Don't come here. It's like screaming into a void.
In many ways, it is, right? What I'm talking about is like you're streaming to 0 viewers, and you're like, why? What the heck am I doing wrong? And Twitch doesn't help you, and Twitch is like, just keep at it. And it's not like, oh man, like I don't want to keep. Like, keeping at it's not the right answer, and like you go on YouTube, and like most of the advice is like, you need to stick with it, pick a game, do all these things, like be entertaining, and then hope to be really lucky. That's what's on YouTube. So it's like, I don't know. I don't.
None of us have the answers. That's for sure.
Yeah. I think focusing on the metrics can be a really detrimental thing, period, though.
No, and that can mess it up even more, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then if you're like, oh my God, look, I had 3 viewers, or I had 19 viewers today, and tomorrow you have 11, you're like, oh, I did something wrong there.
Yeah, I don't think that guy was too concerned about the metrics per se, but he was definitely upset about how messy his room was.
Oh no.
Yeah, at the end of the day, Twitch is very much set up for Twitch to succeed at this current point. Like, everybody at the top of the directory is generating money for Twitch, and I don't think that is going to be something that's going to change anytime soon, because at the end of the day, their goal is to make more money.
No, I think the stated, like, the people who are in charge have stated that they want to increase revenue across the board. Like, they want, like, the stated goal of Twitch.
Directory around.
Well, I don't think it's political, but like, as far as like what they said, their stated goal is they want the average streamer to be above the standard. What do they call it? Not minimum wage, but living wage, I guess, is what they used.
Yeah. I think they're making progress into
They said that?
making it more.
Well, they're definitely not doing that.
See Twitch.
They're not. They're not doing that. No,
Living
like
wage.
I barely know anybody who makes minimum wage on here. Like, it's
I
like
think
really hard to.
No, I don't
achieve
think
that,
they even said minimum wage. I thought they said living wage.
which is
The
more.
affiliate program
Higher.
is a good step in the right direction, but the way that the directory is set up is absolutely to continue to feed people into the top channels, which
Yeah.
isn't going to promote growth for anybody other than the top channels at this point.
But it does provide a clear path
Yeah.
forward, which is like the nice thing about it. We definitely need some help, but
Yeah.
like the great thing is like it's very much an like the American dream, like moving up in the directory, because
Mhm.
like you can literally track your like climb like up,
Absolutely.
you know, and you
Yeah.
can see your progress, and like that feels good, and like you get a host, and then like you're up there and you're meeting people and like, you know, gaining followers and everything. Like it very much like you can make it,
Yeah.
you know.
It just
Yeah.
really.
So while you're not
unfortunately
like
comes
watching
down
the
to luck.
analytics,
How much
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
affiliate contract can we actually go over?
All of it.
All of it.
I would say
Let's
like
screen
let's like
No,
not
but
do
I
that right
mean,
now.
like,
Yeah, let's not
like
go
we're
there, but-
allowed, like we're allowed to talk about it, right? With the actual
Yeah, it's
contractual
literally
agreement.
public.
We can't. Well, we can't tell them that we're secretly making millions of dollars, though.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah.
You have to leave that part of the contract out.
Well, I think the doc on his last stream at 2018, he for the last couple of minutes or whatever, like he was really getting into it, and then he shared his active subscriber count, like on his page. Like he just went to his page, like it's like kind of like a screen share of what his active subscriber count was.
Mhm.
And it was like 28,000. Disguise toasted a video with how much people make, and he said that affiliates will make half of the subscription.
Yeah.
And
as a partner, you negotiate more based on your
well, higher
subscriber count.
streamers make about 350, like instead of half of a regular sub, they'll make 60% or 75% of it. Was it 75? Let me
I can't math.
I'm
I
gonna
don't know.
math here real quick.
I dropped out of
70% versus 50% is what big streamers will make. And so like they estimated that Dr. Disrespect was making probably about 100,000 a month on his just from his subscriptions.
That's beautiful. Good for him. The
Yeah.
content he's producing is incredible.
Yeah.
He deserves all of that support.
Well, I think like that's like back to your thing about the American dream, right? Like you can
Yeah.
look at like a channel like that and be like, I want to do that.
Exactly. I mean,
You
he
know what I
earned
mean?
every bit of that. He's been so innovative on this platform. You know, like he freaking invented the airplane. So like, you know, now there's people riding in the airplane. You should be making some dough.
Okay. So just to like, I mean, there's so much to talk about here. We're not going to get to all of it, but I did want to mention, we talked a little bit about equipment, but I kind of want to just tell you, like, if you're getting into streaming, like, don't spend a whole lot up front. I
No.
would say start as minimal as possible, and as you realize, like, that it's something you want to do, slowly expand your setup.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Like that could even be as simple as streaming directly off your console and just having a phone up for chat. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well,
please
for
stream with a
sure.
Kinect.
Don't stream from your console.
I mean, I disagree.
If you can possibly stream from a
If there's
laptop,
any
or
other
something,
way
it'd be
you
better.
can do
Yeah.
it, do not stream from your console.
But I don't think you should buy, like, if you've never done this, I don't think you should buy a PC and be like, I'm buying a PC for streaming, and then be like, I hate it. You know, that would be a really bad thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because it
that's
really
why
does go back to the 90-day fall off. If you spend $2,000 on
Yeah,
a PC and then
exactly.
90 days later you're like, well, shit, this didn't pan out, then you're
Right.
just in the whole $2,000 for no reason.
You have
Right.
to know that you're going to be in that 12% of people that are going to stay with the platform after 90 days.
Well, that's why I
Yeah.
say you don't have. You can
invest
start from a
in-
console. I'm not saying you're going to be successful streaming from a console, but you might get an idea of whether it's something you want to do or not.
Yeah.
See
Yeah,
if you
Real
like
Crafty
it.
started there.
Yep.
But he also had some fall off from people when he moved from PS4 to PC. He had a lot of
Yeah.
people leave him because they were not interested in a PC streamer. And
Yeah.
they
But
it
he
had to do
moved.
with-
He moved to streaming from a PC before he moved to playing on a PC. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he still lost people because he wasn't streaming from the PS4 anymore because of the way the PS4 directory is set up.
That can't be true.
No
I
way.
think you just made that up.
Yeah. No.
There's no way, dude.
No, there were some metrics on that, I thought. Let me look.
No. There's no way that somebody was like, yo,
Maybe it was
your
when
stream
he-
looks
when he
way
moved from
better.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah. So that is not the default PlayStation webcam.
No,
I do not want to see that.
Oh,
Because there's a
God.
way that there's a way that PlayStation actually puts streams in their thing, because if someone is streaming from the PS4, like the PS4 community has a better chance of seeing it because it's shared in like your feed or whatever.
If that's
I
true,
think
I've never heard of it. I don't know.
PS4, when you stream, I believe automatically puts chat on the screen as well. So maybe that could be a
That
thing.
on the screen.
I believe so.
Yo, we were over in.
There's a PS4 app that specifically directs you to people streaming from
Like the
PS4.
PlayStation 4 specifically
Wow.
directs you to people who are
What?
playing on PS4.
This is.
They're
I'm
doing
not making
something.
that up.
Yo,
So he
come-
lost those people who were only on the PS4 and never had a PC to view the stream.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
You guys have never used a PS4, have you?
No,
I've touched one.
I
I've
have one
heard of
sitting in a
them.
box somewhere.
Recked has one now.
Yeah, I do. I haven't turned it on or taken it out of the box yet, but I
Yeah,
do.
my PS4 is not plugged in.
I need to get a PS4.
That actually
like
just
that
blew
on
my
paper pretty
mind.
well.
So
No, I
okay,
really need one.
The
Just-
reason
I don't
why I
have
said
to-
that was because so there were a lot of people there that were seeing him from the PlayStation Twitch app, I guess,
Mhm.
and we're having a difficult time finding him after the fact because
Wow.
he was not in the PS4 directory or what. When I heard the statistic, I was like, well, that kind of sucks for him, because, or for anybody who wants to move. But that's why I don't think it's really recommended that you start there. And that's why I kind of came to that conclusion. If you can avoid it, streaming from a PS4 or an Xbox is not what you want to do.
I think that also kind of falls into the same thing that we were talking about earlier with picking one game versus picking multiple games. At the end of the day, there's a pretty large chance you're going to box yourself into a directory. And in doing so, it could make it harder to grow outside of it. Or if you switch games, then there's going to be fall off. I think there's a lot that kind of goes into that and finding a balance for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're strictly a Destiny streamer and you grow in Destiny, I imagine it's probably going to be hard to grow outside of that.
But in contrast, though, I think if you're somebody who goes into it saying, I want a variety stream, then I think you're going to see a huge problem where like as you're getting your first like 1 to 3 viewers, like they're gone as soon as you move to another game, and
Yeah.
that
That's
could be
why I
even
think
more frustrating, you know?
having a home base is kind of a solid place
Yeah.
to start,
Yeah.
where you main a one game and then kind of bounce around when other things catch your attention and stuff.
Yeah,
That way you
because
have the base.
you
still.
know, if you have like an average of 20 viewers or something, like maybe at least like 5 to 10 of them will watch you play something else. If you have nobody watching you and like
Yeah.
maybe 1 or 2 people, like the chances are abysmal, you know?
Yeah.
So the cool thing, I mean, the weird thing is that different directories on Twitch are literally different communities. So we're
Yep.
kind of
Yeah.
like talking from the standpoint of the Destiny directory, and like Destiny is like a high commitment, like high investment game,
Yeah.
and the community is very much the same, like with like their like relationship to streamers and streaming. Like people who are very passionate about Destiny are very passionate about Destiny, and a
Mhm.
lot of them are very passionate about only Destiny, which is like different than like streaming in like, you know, the cut the rope directory. Not really, but you know what I mean. Like there are a lot of other low commitment games. Like there's a lot of people that like variety stream like a lot of low commitment games, and a lot of times the communities are also low commitment. So like streaming in like the Sea of Thieves directory, like people like to watch Sea of Thieves. Like that's a great game for a variety streamer, because like it's all about the gameplay of like what you're doing right then and there, right? Like none of the cosmetics affect anything. Like everybody's on the same like boat. Oh, that's cringy.
Why
But
one?
you know, like
Oh, everybody's on the same boat. Haha.
the communities around the game are very much like tied to the nature of the game. So like that's something to think about when variety streaming.
We do have to start wrapping up. I definitely didn't get to everything I want to get to. We'll probably have to revisit this topic at some point. I just want to mention a couple things before we get to like kind of the closing here. Yeah, we mentioned equipment and stuff like that, but so for the podcast going forward, I really want to delve into potentially like editing the audio of the podcast and balancing like our vocal tracks like individually. Like if we could track them separately and send them to somebody to mix them, that would be really good.
That's what I was gonna suggest.
Yeah. The problem is I just need somebody hopefully who has time to do that. Who you would do that for us?
Absolutely. If you guys want to create like a Dropbox and individually output your audio tracks and drop it in a Dropbox, I am more than happy to mix and EQ and compress and all that shit. So
let's literally start doing that next week.
yeah.
All right.
Try it out and see how it goes, and if it's an improvement, cool. I think that would be a solid place to start.
Awesome. So yeah, that's something I want to get on as soon as possible. I want to get on making an actual website for this podcast, and then the last thing I'm curious about, and I'll probably put out a straw poll about some of this stuff, is in terms of the video on YouTube. I'm not sure that just having like the 2 hour, 1.5 hour to 2 hour video is gonna get any eyes on this. So if we could maybe segment the video into targeted conversations where we say, here's a 10-minute video of us talking about this, and you could just like, we'll have the same discussion format, and then in post-production we'll just split it up into different videos.
Yeah, Destiny, the DCP does. They do like they have the full one, the full audio. I like what you were talking about better, but the full audio, and then they'll do like the introduction of the person. So if like somebody just wants to watch the introduction, they don't really care about the podcast, so they'll listen to it later. The full podcast.
That's
I think
funny because usually with their podcast, sadly enough, most of the time I skip the interview for most people, unless it's somebody I'm like aware of that I'm interested in learning more about.
Well, the only time I'll listen to it is I'll be like, well, where did that? Because I was watching a video last night. I was like, where did Shroud? Like, how did Shroud start streaming? Like, I'm actually getting really, really interested to how.
Where did he go to high school? What kind of shoes did he wear?
No, I'm just saying, like, how do people get started?
Yeah.
Dr. Disrespect, Shroud. You know, I'm aware of how they got started. I'm aware of how Ninja got started. You know, I know the kind of like the whole backstory behind those people. What's interesting about almost every single story that I've started to look at so far is they all were popular before Twitch became a platform.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Another suggestion that I had, which might be difficult time-wise, but possibly entertaining the idea of, aside from just this format of podcast, maybe trying to incorporate the time to do like a Let's Play format podcast where everybody's just kind of playing and talking that way. So there's something more attention grabbing than just the webcams. That might not be a bad idea as well.
Or I mean, another thing, like I could put out a straw poll about this as well. If on the YouTube version, you guys would rather have just B-roll gameplay, we could start literally just recording and overlapping random gameplay of Destiny. That's something we can do. I've seen that done. It is a fine idea. We could have like an overlay for the GuardianCast with like gameplay in it or something like that. It really just depends what you guys want.
I mean, it would be cool if, like, I like that idea of like a Let's Play, like the week that. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry, I just had to say, like the week that Iron Banner comes around next, if we all just like play Iron Banner together and then like stitch together our Iron Banner stuff, but like are talking about like our experiences that week and whatever, like while like playing the new activity.
Yeah.
I do worry that we will lose focus. I mean, it's hard enough to have a coherent conversation like this.
Yeah, but you know, every once in a while.
Yeah, every once in a while. I'd be willing to try that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Wits, thank you so much for coming on this week, man.
Absolutely.
You're a
Thanks
champion,
for having
Wits.
me.
Before we sign off, do you want to shout out any kind of ways that people can reach you if they're looking for artwork or anything like that?
I am at WITSandGIGS everywhere. Instagram, Twitch, Facebook.
And they should just
Twitter.
message you on Twitter or something like that, or
whatever.
Where can
is
they give
most
you money?
convenient.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
Instagram
good.
and Twitch is probably the easiest way to directly contact me. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, this has been a good podcast, guys. Going forward, we'll have to see, with Destiny news and stuff, what direction we want to take this our content in and stuff like that, and we'll revisit that soon. Thanks everybody for coming on this week.
Later, guys.
Peace.